On Christmas morning, Mom texted me, "We sold your car, laptop, and iPhone, your sister needs to study. Be grateful we left your furniture." Then she demanded I sign an $18,000 loan. I refused, packed my things, and left before dinner. The next day, they found the letter I left. Now they're panicking. So, there I was on Christmas morning, still half asleep, when I get this message from my mom. It starts off with the usual Merry Christmas niceties, but then, bam, she drops a bomb. "Be grateful we kept your furniture," she says. And if that wasn't enough of a shocker, she follows it up with, "We sold your car, your laptop, and your iPhone. Your sister needs it for med school." My hands were shaking as I read it. I thought it had to be some kind of prank, but nope, she was dead serious. A few seconds later, another text pops up telling me to sign a loan form for $18,000 by Monday. No punctuation, no explanation, just like it's the next logical step after basically erasing my entire existence. I sat there, stunned, just staring at the empty spot where my laptop used to be, the charger still plugged in like some kind of sick joke. Finally, I managed to type out a simple response, "Not happening." 5 seconds later, she replies with, "Then pack your stuff, you're done here." No call, no conversation, just a cold, emotionless text. It felt like getting fired from a job I didn't even know I had. So, I packed up and left. No drama, no tears. My duffel bag was zipped, my closet was empty, and by 2 p.m., I was out of there. I left the place as empty and stripped as they'd left my life. Before leaving, I put a letter on the table, hidden between the salt and pepper shakers, and walked out. The next morning, my phone starts buzzing with missed calls and messages from my family, freaking out over the letter. My sister was panicked about her exams, and my mom was demanding I call her back because Dad was furious. But I didn't bother answering. They made their choices, now they had to deal with the fallout. That letter was just the beginning. I used to think staying silent and being helpful was the right thing, that if my family overstepped, it was on me for not setting boundaries. But their idea of family was all about debt, guilt, and control, with no room for limits. After Christmas, I crashed on a friend's couch, trying to wrap my head around everything. My stuff wasn't stolen by strangers, it was sold off by my own family to fund my sister's education. Not a single apology, not even a hint of regret. They just assumed I'd come crawling back. But I didn't. I remembered all the sacrifices I made for them, paying the internet bill in college, handing my old MacBook to my sister, who then trashed it online after getting a new iPad, sending Mom cash for dental work only to see her flashing new earrings. I even helped pay off Dad's credit card debt. Yet, in the family chat, my aunt was quick to label me as overly emotional. Then, to top it all off, I noticed $620 missing from my bank. It was taken through an old Apple family subscription I'd set up for them. Turns out, my iPhone wasn't even sold, it was reset and given to my cousin Leo, who was proudly showing it off on social media. Finally, things took a turn when my sister sent a voice message to the wrong chat by mistake. She was casually talking about how I'd never notice if they signed some papers in my name. I quickly saved that audio before she could delete it. That message might just change everything. So, there I was, staring at my computer screen in disbelief. My heart was calm, but my jaw was clenched. It wasn't just about money anymore, this was a full-blown conspiracy, with fraud and people laughing behind my back. That night, my friend Emma, who I've known forever and has always been the quiet one around my family, texted me. She sent a screenshot of a chat between my sister and one of her friends. It said something like, "Alex is so dumb, he'll send more money if Mom cries a bit. He still thinks I'm in med school. I just want out of this country on his dime." Another part said, "He's basically an ATM with Wi-Fi." Emma texted, "I didn't want to get involved, but you need to know who she really is. I've always cared, you deserve better." I stared at that last message longer than I'd like to admit. I replied, "You've been more of a friend than my family ever was." But the hits didn't stop there. Next up was Noah, my best buddy, who I'd been crashing with since leaving my parents' place. He went out to grab some food, leaving his laptop open. I wasn't snooping, I swear. I just opened a new browser tab and saw his messenger was still logged in. There it was again, my sister messaging him, "He suspects nothing. Once he signs, we'll handle the rest. You'll still get 30%. He's lucky we even left him the furniture." Noah replied with, "He won't even see it coming." I didn't flip out or yell, I just calmly created a folder on my computer labeled Family Fraud Evidence. I set up a hidden camera in the room and turned on a voice recorder. Later, Noah came back and made a call. I listened as he said, "Yeah, he's here. Everything's calm. He still thinks I'm on his side. Tomorrow we'll slip in the papers and act like it's routine. He'll sign, he always does." I just sat there, listening and recording, feeling done with the whole mess. That night, I was wide awake. I organized everything: screenshots, voice memos, chat logs, and bank transactions. I made 3 backup copies, one on a hard drive, one online, and one ready to be delivered. Then I typed a single sentence: "You wanted a doctor in the family, you got a surgeon." I was not looking for revenge, just prepping for a clean cut. Friday at 7:12 p.m., I got a text from my mom: "It's my birthday tomorrow. Just a quiet dinner. Come by. Your sister wants to talk." It smelled like a setup, but I agreed to go. I wasn't going empty-handed, though. I brought a flash drive, printed documents, a lawyer, and a silence colder than any grudge. Saturday evening, I went to their house. The table was all set, napkins folded too neatly. My mom smiled like her skin was too tight, and my dad ate his salad like it offended him. My sister kept fiddling with her phone, and Noah sat there, looking all calm and fake. Mom said, "We've all made mistakes, but this is family. Let's not make it a big deal. Can we just get through this?" My sister muttered, "He can't prove anything anyway." I reached into my bag, placed the flash drive on the table, and played the recording. My sister's voice filled the room: "Tell Noah to bring the papers. I'll sign for Alex. He never reads anything. His password's still the same." I checked. "God, Mom, he's such a fool." Nobody said a word. I spread out more evidence: screenshots of Instagram DMs, the listing for my car with its specific bumper scratch, and a chat between Noah and my sister about a 70-30 split. They had no clue I'd gotten this far. My mom yelled, accusing me of fabricating everything. My sister screamed. I calmly picked up the recorder, pressed play again. Noah's voice was clear as day: "We'll slide the papers in tomorrow. He'll sign, he always does." My mom started shaking. My dad tapped the table in frustration. Noah silently got up and left. But I wasn't finished. I was tired of being the one who always took the fall. Finally, I looked towards the hallway, and a man in a suit entered. "This is Mr. Iran from Varco and White," I said. "He has something to say." Mr. Iran adjusted his glasses and announced, cool as a cucumber, "A loan for $18,000 was taken out in Alex's name 2 weeks ago. The signature was forged. We have audio proof, digital trails, and handwriting analysis. This is forgery and financial fraud. If it continues, charges will be pressed." My dad looked at me, shock across his face. "What did you do?" Things got real intense when my sister accused me of calling lawyers against the family. She spat out that I was just after revenge. Meanwhile, my mom was full on yelling, blaming Emma, who was just standing there in the doorway. I kept my cool. I didn't shout or even flinch. Instead, I pulled out my keys and dropped them on the table. It was my way of saying I was done being the one who paid to keep everything hush-hush. I told them I wasn't part of the family anymore, probably never really was. I even showed them a photo of this notarized document renouncing any inheritance or family ties. Emma and I walked out together, and nobody tried to stop us. The night air felt fresh, like a breath I hadn't taken in years. Emma asked me what we'd do next, and I told her, now, they have to face the truth. It was the first time I'd ever really smiled, feeling like I hadn't just burned bridges, but wiped the whole slate clean. No big social media posts or drama online, just silence, the kind that can't be answered back. After walking out, I put my phone in a drawer, not even turning it off, just ignoring it. The next morning, I got a new SIM card from another state with a new number, no contacts, no backup, just freedom. I left all the family group chats and closed any accounts with their names on them. By midday, I was gone. 3 days later, I stood at a train station with just a duffel bag and a hard drive, Emma by my side with a thermos of terrible gas station coffee. She didn't ask questions, she never did. We boarded a train heading south to a town where nobody knew who I was, where I didn't have any past haunting me. While I settled in, my lawyer, Yazik, got to work. This guy was as calm and focused as a loaded rifle. First, we filed civil suits against my sister and dad for forging documents about a fake $18,000 loan, and we had all the evidence lined up. Next, we set up a legal firewall so none of my family could speak or act for me in any official capacity again. Lastly, I rebuilt my identity from scratch: new tax ID, new bank details, new everything. My name was now meaningless to them. About a week later, Yazik sent me an email from my mother, asking if I was okay and saying they were worried. Yazik replied with just a cold, sharp line saying they had no legal ground to contact me and communication stops here. I didn't feel any satisfaction. I just turned off the screen. They tried reaching out to Noah, who didn't respond, and wrote to Emma, who blocked them all. I was gone, and they hated it more than anything else I could have done. Then the real kicker hit. Yazik called me with news that this wasn't the first time they forged documents in my name. Turns out, 3 years ago, they filed for another loan using my info. Seeing my dad's actual signature, and then my mom's, made me realize they'd planned this long before I even caught on to their lies. So I stopped all the jokes and emoticons, and got serious. We found out my grandma had a share in the family apartment. She's in elder care, so we quietly bought that share. 2 weeks later, my parents got a notice telling them they had 30 days to leave. No name on the letter, just a firm seal. I never went back to watch them pack up. I didn't need to see their faces when they realized I'd pulled the rug out from under them. Meanwhile, Emma and I set up a small creative studio in a coastal town. We worked quietly, doing our thing as freelancers, sipping on coffee, and avoiding all the distractions. When people asked what we did, we just said, solutions. No one knew about our past, and I liked it that way. Our door didn't even have a name on it, just a simple strip. There I was, just staring at this piece of etched glass that had "We don't fix families" written on it. That hit me hard, like a final plot twist in a movie. Fast forward 6 months, and my mom decided to see a therapist, something she would have never dreamed of doing before. On the coffee table in her therapist's office sat a pile of books. One, with a black and white cover, caught her eye. It was titled The Quiet Exit by A.R. Wyatt. She picked it up, flipped through the pages, and suddenly froze. She knew those words. Sure, the names and city were changed, but the voice? Definitely mine. Every chapter was like a scar I didn't have to hide anymore, permanently pressed into those pages. She closed the book slowly and whispered, "He told the truth." But the truth is, no one was really listening. And that was the whole point. Now, almost a year later, the chaos has kind of faded away. People stopped pretending I was just taking a break. I managed to rebuild my life without their influence. They used to send messages through others, but now they can't even remember who those people are. They would call from private numbers, but I've stopped answering unknown calls altogether. Silence isn't just about the absence of noise, it's a power move. My new life doesn't start with bright morning sun but with the peace of no interruptions, no surprise visits, no guilt-laden messages, no favors being asked. Emma and I live in an apartment with windows that don't face the street. You can't peek in unless we open the blinds, which we hardly ever do. There's no doorbell. Clients reach out through secure channels. Even the name on the buzzer isn't mine, it's just a number that only 3 people actually know. Sometimes, I stand in the kitchen and soak in the quiet, reminding myself that I built this from scratch, not out of revenge, but for my own breathing space. By the 2nd month, I stopped waiting for apologies. By the 3rd, I stopped caring about their gossip. By the 6th, their faces and voices were just distant memories. If I see a photo of someone dealing with family drama, I scroll past it, like an ad for something I've already paid too much for, in years, in silence, in losing myself, and I'm done with that price tag. During a meeting, someone mentioned, every brand has a backstory. I joked, mine's under NDA and I burned the only copy. They laughed, but I was dead serious. I'm not Alex anymore, even Emma calls me Wyatt now. It wasn't an order, I just became Wyatt. Alex was a placeholder, Wyatt is my choice. Wyatt doesn't respond to "Hey, it's been a while" messages. Wyatt doesn't take calls from the past. Wyatt only looks forward because what's behind him is, well, toast. Then Leo came along, new guy at work, super sure of himself, coding like a boss. He joined a partner team and we didn't chat much until this one late night call. He casually mentions a city I knew well. I kept cool and said, "Yeah, my cousin's still there." She'd always blame her brother for ruining her life, but honestly, she was her own worst enemy. Leo just took a sip of his drink and shrugged, maybe he just stopped fueling her nonsense. I stared at the screen and thought out loud, or maybe he just reclaimed his life. Leo nodded, good for him. After that call, I took a run through the city in the rain, no hood, no umbrella, just me, the rain, and my breath. Not because I was spooked, but because I could. No one was tracking me. No one was waiting up. No one even knew where my home was. That's real freedom, not needing to be found. Emma once asked, "Think they'll try reaching out?" I just shook my head. They don't even know who I am anymore, and if they did, it's too late. I didn't vanish to make them miss me, I disappeared so they could never reach me again, not even with guilt trips. People often say family is forever. Nope, they've got it wrong. Family is whoever respects your boundaries and backs off when you say no. Mine didn't, so I bailed. And when I did, I didn't just shut the door, I welded it shut. Now and then, people ask, do you miss them? Honestly, I miss the version of me that didn't have to go through all that, but that version didn't make it. I did. I'm not about healing or forgiving or guarding the door. I'm building something new, and they'll never see it, touch it, or benefit from it. That's the real closure, not a goodbye but a solid firewall, and it's holding strong. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. And hit the notification bell to stay updated with more crazy real life stories happening around you.